Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 8, text number 80. Tasmin abhidhyayati vishwamatmano dvaram nirudasam ananyadiya loka niruchi vasa nirupidita brisham salokapala sharanam yayurharim. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Dhruva Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing became choked up, and all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated and thus took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. When hundreds of persons are sitting in an airplane, although they remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the airplane, which runs at thousands of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes as powerful as the total energy. As explained in the previous verse, Dhruva Maharaj, because of his spiritual advancement, became almost the total heaviness, and thus he pressed down the whole earth. Moreover, by such spiritual power, his unit body became the total body of the universe. Thus, when he closed the holes of his unit body to firmly concentrate his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the units of the universe became, namely all the living entities, including the big demigods, felt the pressure of suffocation, as if their breathing were being choked. Therefore, they all took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they were perplexed as to what happened. This example of Dhruva Maharaj closing the holes of his personal body, thereby closing the breathing holes of the total universe, clearly indicates that a devotee, by his personal devotional service, can influence all the people of the whole world to become devotees of the world, of the Lord. If there is only one pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, he can change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. This is not very difficult to understand if we study the behavior of Dhruva Maharaj. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, very interesting. How a Bhakti yogi can exhibit the topmost of all the mystic powers. Here, Dhruva Maharaj, what did he do? He concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord in the heart as instructed by Narada Rishi with the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And because his mind was completely absorbed, 100% uninterruptedly, and with no dilution of his intention, single pointed, he was in his determination to meet the Supreme Personality of Godhead, please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So with undiluted intention, with 100% attention, he focused on the transcendental mantra in the form of the Supreme Lord, as described by Narada Rishi, to have been and described to be seated in his heart. So this is the exact process in which Dhruva Maharaj engaged in. Now, because his mind was completely absorbed within in these matters of full attention on the Supreme Lord, who is none other than the total consciousness. Vishnu is total consciousness. When his mind is completely absorbed inside, what is the result? The result is automatically all the mind is away from all the other senses. Mind is the one that directs the senses. If the mind is busy, 100% absorbed in the Supreme Lord, with only intention of seeking his association, then it is automatically, Dhruva Maharaj must have begun everything as controlling the breath and all those things. But at a certain stage, there was no need for him to control breath and all, because he was already completely absorbed. But however, because he was going through the process of Ashtanga Yoga, absorbing in Bhakti Yoga, of course, but he was following all the austerities, and therefore his mind-body system was also completely in performing the highest tapasya. So it is said here that Dhruva Maharaj's tapasya, because he practically stopped breathing. When he stopped breathing, it is said that the entire universal breathing was getting choked up. So there is a continuous process that is going on between different units in this material world. We are all, each of these bodies are different units which are all breathing. So Dhruva Maharaj is one unit. Now as one unit he stopped breathing, how can it affect everybody else's breathing? It can affect because he became one with the total consciousness of the Supreme Lord Vishnu in terms of quality. Because of constant association with the mantra, with the transcendental form. Automatically, as to understand this, Prabhupada has used this beautiful example. Without this, it is very difficult to understand. I'll read this again. When hundreds of persons are sitting in an airplane, although they remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the airplane, which runs at thousands of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes as powerful as the total energy. So, let's analyze this example that Prabhupada is giving. Within a flight, each living entity is each person in the flight has his own capability of moving around within the airplane, but the airplane itself is moving at a bigger speed. So all the living entities, all the persons in the flight are enjoying or suffering the speed of the airplane. Suppose suddenly airplane due to bad cloud just goes down. Then everyone will feel the experience what the, suppose plane was a person. What plane is experiencing, they will all experience. So in the same way, the universal body of the Lord, the Vishwarupa of the Lord, Virat Rupa of the Lord is a soul. So when Dhruva Maharaj, his consciousness in a small body is a unit body, but his consciousness touched the Supreme Consciousness, and who is the soul of the entire universe. So the material energy, every small part of the material energy is connected to every other part, potentially connected. There is oneness in the material, my body, your body, everybody's body, they're all one. Identities are what makes it different. But they're all one. Out of Maya, we differentiate. My body, your body, everything. If the body had to speak, what will body say? I don't know you. Body say, I am part of material energy, I am not you. Does the body have an identity? Does the body intrinsically have identity? No. I am in the body and I have adopted the identity of the body. It's all in my head, the identity. Body itself is no difference. This body has no identity. A car also has no identity. Car's engine is also running. Heart is also running here. Heart engine doesn't think that. The engine of the car doesn't think that, I am the engine of this person. Similarly, this heart is pumping. It doesn't think it is the heart of this person. But we tend to believe that, yes, I am the body means body is also responding as if it's me. So, going out of the bodily concept and meditating upon the Supreme Lord itself, being absorbed in the Supreme Lord itself, is the highest mystic power. That is why it is said that a pure devotee who is unindilutedly, uninterruptedly means over time, uninterrupted. Undiluted in intention means no other purpose, only one purpose. That's exactly what Dhruva Maharaj did with his consciousness, and he attained this mystic power. And Prabhupada says here that the last part of the paragraph he says, the example of Dhruva Maharaj closing the holes of his personal body, thereby closing the breathing holes of the total universe, clearly indicates that a devotee by his personal devotional service can influence all the people of the whole world to become devotees of the world. If there is one pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, he can change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. This is not very difficult to understand if we study the behavior of Dhruva Maharaj. Just see how it is. People think that Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is very simple, but it deals with very highest scientific truths about the influence of consciousness. An individual consciousness can influence the consciousness of all the population. But of course, they should be willing. So, nobody wants to forcefully make everybody Krishna conscious. By their consciousness, their chittam, their free will is beyond that. But their chittam, that chittam is a contaminated consciousness that is surrounding the soul in this material world. Just like our consciousness surrounding this soul, it is chittam, it is a consciousness, contaminated consciousness. It's a sum total of all our experiences, desires, relationship, everything. Millions of lives, all put together is surrounding the soul, is called chittam. The holy name is so powerful that one chanting can clean all the chittam, our consciousness. Then why it is not happening? Because it is not the question of, the chittam should be purified by the soul, by his free will. There is no point in, because chittam itself, the contaminated consciousness itself is an element, part of the material existence, given by the Lord for a particular purpose. What is that purpose? The living entity, out of his own free will, he should engage in surrender to the Supreme Lord and engage in pure devotional service. So if the living entity himself does not make a decision, does not make a desire to come out of this material world, the same way, even if you chant Hare Krishna, the Hare Krishna is powerful enough to cleanse our consciousness, but he will cleanse only according to our desire. There's no point in, in forcefully cleansing your desire, because you will desire again. So better all the desires that are there, you practice devotion service, cleanse your chittam on your own. That is love. You want to come back to me, then you voluntarily engage in chanting Hare Krishna, begging for self-purification, purification of our chittam. The soul is very intimately connected with this element called chitta, the 24th element. The impressions of all this, it is nothing but our subconscious, you can say. Even, what is the depth of subconscious, what is the real functions, etc. Even modern science also doesn't know, but still they use the word subconscious. But Prabhupada also uses the word subconscious. Anything which is not in the conscious, subconscious. And Prabhupada said they are all impressions of our past, which is there. All the false egos, ahankaras, they're all in the subconscious. All the relationships that we create, they're all in the subconscious. That is the reason after you meet somebody twice, thrice, again, when you see that person, automatically you recognize him. Not simply recognize him, all his thinking, feeling, all your interaction with him, everything you recognize. Is it not? Where that is happening? It's not that soul is memorizing all this. Who is memorizing all this? Soul is not active in this material world. Soul is only a kshetrajna. It's only knowing. Knowing that I am forgetting, knowing that I am remembering, knowing that I am, is not actually feeling. Just like in a movie, when you're watching a movie, you know the movie. When you feel for the hero in the movie, actually you are not feeling. You know the feeling of the... if you don't identify yourself with the movie character, then you cannot feel. So that identification, it is through identification that we feel. So actually, very clearly, the living entity in the material world is knower and doer. That means gives out free will. It gives action. Okay, in the illusion is taking, okay, just like in a video game. Who gives the decision? From outside the game, you give the decision. And then you know what is happening. So anyway, coming back to this, the point I was talking about was, what was it before this? Chittam, yeah. So, very important to understand this chittam. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Dharpana Marjanam. That means the chittam, chetana, that gets purified by association with the Shakti Aveshanama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if we are not associating with the devotees for a higher cause, getting a higher taste, I want to go back to Godhead, had enough of this material world. If all these things, first free will is not used, then chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will wait for you to take these decisions. If you don't want to go back to Godhead, and if you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not going to force you to back to Godhead. So free will of the living entity is the most important thing. Everywhere. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna has his supreme free will. We have our free will. So just see here, Dhruva Maharaj used his free will and the universe is there. The entire universal elements are all one. Similarly, when you go into the consciousness plane, it's all one. Advaya Jnana. Advaya means non-dual. Within that non-duality, there is difference in identity. The Mayavadis say in the total consciousness, there is no difference in identity. But we say that within the total consciousness, one consciousness, there is multiplicity of identities. I don't become God. Just like Prabhupada it gives example. The water in the river, if it goes into the ocean, it looks merged, but the water that went is there also. That water does not disappear. So in the same way, the living entity, he has his individual consciousness, he merges with the total consciousness. By absorption, in the Bhakti yogis, they absorb, they merge with the consciousness that I belong to you. I have an identity, but I belong to you. I am your servant. Whereas the Mayavadis, they say that I become the total consciousness. This is my present consciousness that I have, tiny consciousness, is fully Maya. I am God. That is their consciousness. So in Bhakti Yoga, see, all these things are highly complicated processes of the world, universal breathing, Dhruva Maharaj breathing. It's all explained. So, it is not that, okay, one pure devotee can become, fully Krishna conscious, and by his mystic power, the whole world can become Krishna conscious. Prabhupada says one pure devotee can influence. Otherwise, what is the principle in free will? So powerful that the pure devotee can influence, just like Srila Prabhupada. He influenced. But finally, the living entities, millions of people came across Prabhupada. But they have to decide. Some decided and they got influenced. Rest of the support was fully given. They were given the Nama. So now take the Nama, chant. You have decided to come back to Godhead. Go back to Godhead. Here it is, full support. So it's not an impersonal process by which the one pure devotee meditates and controls all the consciousness of all the living entities and make them Krishna conscious. So let us understand in the context in which Prabhupada is saying. Yes, he can have an influence. A pure devotee's presence in the world can influence the whole world, can influence. Not only people whom he meets, even in terms of his internal consciousness, he can influence. Good things happen in the material world by the presence of a pure devotee walking on the earth. He can influence, because some people take that influence, some people don't take that influence. But that is not the same as not having influence at all. So Prabhupada's influence as a founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That is the meaning of saying he is a founder and Acharya. His influence is continuing. His influence is continuing. Spiritual influence is continuing through his various units. His units are all his disciples. And that is how the Krishna consciousness movement is still spreading. The disciple shares the heritage of his guru, his guru's guru. He shares that heritage. This is the meaning of parampara. When we chant Hare Krishna, we are chanting the Hare Krishna that has come in parampara. When we achieve something for the mission of Srila Prabhupada, we are achieving in parampara. Just like the example, airplane is flying. One should not think, I am doing. You put your small effort sitting in a seat in the airplane, but the airplane is flying. Similarly, you get up early in the morning, attend Mangalarti, chant Hare Krishna, do your little service. The airplane is flying. The airplane of Prabhupada is flying. The airplane speed at which is flying is all, who is the pilot? Prabhupada is a pilot. Okay. So, that is how everything is being achieved in the Krishna consciousness movement. So, it's a mystical process, very much part of. Now, let us come to our chanting of Hare Krishna. How is it that we can show our. What is our similar to Dhruva Maharaj? Not necessarily because it's not bodily thing. Our whole process here, he had particular material desire in his mind. In our case, if you take an analogy, I repeated earlier also, if we can hear the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, with two things in mind. One is, I should give uninterrupted attention. That means attention should not go anywhere. Attention should not get diluted. Undiluted attention. That means attention is uninterrupted. You chant, start from bead 1, go on, without breaking attention. An attention breaker, or what is the famous attention breaker? Thinking. Thinking is the attention breaker. So without thinking, if you can hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that alone is not enough. You should have undiluted intention. Why are you chanting? For getting mystic power? Or for getting association of the Lord as well as mystic power? So dilution ho gaya. Undiluted in intention. What is undiluted in intention? What is your intention? Association of the Nama who has descended. I only want his association, nothing else. In the material world, we meet, so I want to meet him because in the end of it, I want to gain something. I am going to meet this person. You have an intention. What is that intention? Something for you. You have an intention. Isn't that? Similarly, tendency of the mind is to actually, when you are chanting Hare Krishna, something I have to get. Instead, we should simply think, I just want to associate with the Satchidananda Vigraha, who is Shabda Vigraha, who is before me. Just want to associate. So that consciousness, undiluted attention and undiluted intention. Undiluted attention is a negative thing. We are saying undiluted, it should not be diluted. But where should the attention be? Fully on the Nama, and it should be undiluted. And what should be the intention? To associate and please the Lord. That should be the positive intention. It should not be diluted by intention for this one, that one, so many other things. It should not be diluted. So if we can chant, this is what we should practice. This is soulful japa. This is a foundation of soulful japa. Then bhavanas are there, that is a different thing. That's bhavanas have to naturally come. Or bhavanas have, without bhavana should not, our feelings or bhavana in the background. It should only be in the background. Foreground should be completely absorbed in chanting uninterruptedly with undiluted intention for the association of the Lord. So we also have got a big, Dhruva Maharaj is taking a lot of tapasya. It didn't happen overnight. Not that he decided and suddenly he went into this state. No. 6 months standing, then he attained that perfection. Similarly, simply today if you decide, I want to do uninterrupted, undiluted japa. It's not an instant decision. Okay, today's round, undiluted. You should do every day's japa, you should try to do uninterrupted and undiluted in intention. We should do. We should try. But we should know it is a process. I'll go on like this, I'll go on like this. More and more we associate with the Lord gives us the attraction for uninterrupted. Lord gives us the higher taste by which all the lower taste intentions are all lower taste, different intentions. So you lose all your lower taste by the association of the Lord. So it's a process, continuous process. And this is what the tapasya that the devotee has to do. Earlier also one paragraph one purport Prabhupada talked about how the bhakti yogi, a small boy, could achieve this because he was meditating on the Lord. Lord helped him. It's not like an impersonalist meditation. He got a guru. Dhruva Maharaj got a guru, Naradarshi, gave him the mantra and all those things. So there is a guru and Krishna's help is there. Therefore he became very quickly attained this tapasya. Similarly, we also have Prabhupada's mercy and Nama Prabhu's mercy. By their mercy, this tapasya of uninterrupted giving uninterrupted attention to the Lord and undiluted with undiluted intention, our japa will keep progressing and progressing and progressing with the help of Nama Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Krishna's mercy. So our consciousness our chitta becomes completely pure. That contaminated consciousness becomes a pure devotee consciousness. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, how to keep the taste of japa alive when the yantra doesn't allow us to, exceed the limitation?
The japa does not allow us to
go ahead with that. For example, like if someone, let's say, take an example of someone chanting for, let's say, 15 hours continuously, like 15 or 14 hours. And then at some point, yantra is not allowing, for example, throat is paining or something like that. So in that case, he wants to chant. Like somebody wants to chant. But he is not able to chant because of the limitation of the yantra.
Limitation of the yantra?
Yeah, body
okay,
actually.
Okay.
Grossly, it's stopping the person.
Yeah.
So in that case, what should be our mood or how to keep that spirit alive?
No, there are all different stages. If we are at the neophyte stage, we should, for instance, at neophyte stage, we should not try stunt, not to sleep and chant 23 hours. You cannot. You will sleep. But the fact is that if you really associate with the holy name, you will not feel sleepy at all. So it's a process. It takes time. Between the soul and the nama who is on the tongue, there is something in between called contaminated consciousness. The soul doesn't get direct association. So the purification, our chittam should get Satchidananda-ized. Just like I give example, you have a gloves on your hand, you have a hot plate, you keep it on the hot plate. It's a rubber gloves, so you will not feel the heat. So today our chanting is like that. We will not feel the warmth of Satchit Ananda. But something is happening. What is happening? The heat is touching the gloves. Slowly the gloves will melt. As it melts, you will see the heater's heat is slowly coming into you. It's touching its warmth. You're feeling the warmth. When the gloves is fully melted, you will feel the full heat of the heater. So in the same way, the soul, between the soul and the Nama Prabhu who is appearing before us. Even if you hear, you are chanting on the tongue and you hear also. But between your hearing and you, there is this chitta, contaminated consciousness. So going on hearing Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that in between consciousness, contaminated consciousness is getting purified. It becoming transparent. It is becoming as pure as our original consciousness. So it becomes transparent. At that time, Nama Prabhu, you can appreciate, you can sense the Sat and Chit and Ananda energies. Because these are three things which we cannot sense now, isn't it? Sat can be experienced by Sat, the Chit can be experienced by Chit, Ananda can be experienced by Ananda. In the sense, with the Asat eyes, you cannot experience Sat. Similarly, with the Achit, with the contaminated consciousness, you cannot experience the pure knowledge taste. So taste, it depends on how much our consciousness is purified. It's a very powerful process. All the process is given. Cheto Darpana Marjana. Chant here, you will get purified. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय.